Interestingly, a study has found that asking brain teasers and random questions during an interview is a sign of a narcissistic and sadistic boss. So, let's find out how well our Ranganation would do in a job interview. I'm going to play the sadistic boss. I'm going to ask you some brain teasers. These are all genuine interview questions, OK, that recruiters ask to assess your thought process and problem solving. There are no right or wrong answers. It's about how your mind works. OK, so Lord Dave, genuine interview question. You're in an interview situation, you're trying to impress me, all right? If a hippo falls into a hole, how would you get it out?
So I would call the fire brigade and I would then report it to the emergency services, create a boundary around the hole. Where's the hole, basically? Where is the hole in the road? Where's this hole created?
I've given you all the information I can. There's a hippo in a hole. Sort it.
OK, so I'll probably, get the fire brigade down here, maybe like the animal sanctuary people down so they can lift the hippo out of the hole, make sure the hippo's fine because we don't want to cause any disruption to the hippo family and all that. I'll contact the maintenance people so
You're doing a lot of phone calls, aren't you, mate?
Maintenance people, clear up the hole, and then, boom, we've got the whole field, the hippo's off back to wherever it came from.
What was that? You've got the job. I was actually quite impressed.
Was you impressed by that?
Yeah. Mum, how can you tell if your refrigerator light is on or not?
If the light is on, it's on. If it's off, it's off. Yeah.
OK, what about when the door's closed?
Open the bloody door. This.
OK, Mum, that's... Can you imagine her in an interview? It's a bloody stupid question. Tom.
Yes?
If you were a kitchen appliance, which kitchen appliance would you be and why?
Maybe something like an Arga. People say once you've had one, you never go back.
I think you've confused an Arga with somebody black. Now, not everyone is cut out for interviews. Have a look at one candidate from the last series of The Apprentice trying to blag his way through. Good luck, mate.
I'm going to shake his hand.
You won't be able to shake his
I
hand.
will. Good afternoon, Claude.
Take a seat.
How many sticks did you sell last year?
It was about 47,000.
So how come it says on your product page on Amazon over 1 million sold globally?
Yeah, that's not correct.
How has that appeared on there?
I would need to review that.
I'd like you to review that right now. Can you tell me who wrote that phrase?
I would need to check.
So you didn't write that?
I could have written that.
I think you did write that.
It's possible that I wrote that.
I'd rather you didn't write that.
I mean, it's highly likely that I wrote that.
What percentage likely?
Yeah, probably 90% likely that I wrote that.
Would you say 100% likely that you wrote that?
I would...
You wrote that, didn't you?
OK, yeah.
I think it's actually quite endearing.
Yeah, the face of the future of British business there, and it's the face of someone shitting their pants. Tom, you've got charm by the bucket load, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, I don't mind you saying that at all.
How do you think you'd cope in the Apprentice interviews?
Very well. I think I'd be exactly what they'd want. I think if Claude started... I wouldn't like that if Claude started being mean to me, if he didn't shake my hand. And I think I'd make out in The Apprentice that he was my father.
How would that conversation go? So...
I'd come in, go to shake his hand, he'd say, sit down, and I'd say, you're my real father.
So you wouldn't ease into it at all? It's literally the first thing you say.
See the programme, they like it when people are direct. I'm not here to make friends. That's the main thing you have to say on The Apprentice. I'm not here to make friends.
Yeah.
I've sold 1 million of something.
You're my dad.
You're my dad.
OK. One manager said she wouldn't give a job to anyone who didn't send a follow-up email to say thank you, as it proves that they're not eager, organised or well-mannered. Hands up if you agree with that as a thing. Follow-up email. It's a bit butt-kissy, isn't it? Ex-banker, what do you think?
I have had many interviews in my life. I haven't got all the jobs, but I've always said thank you for the interview. But I often send a follow-up as well. I'll say thanks for your time. But I do that if somebody invites me to dinner. I will ring them up the next day or send them an email.
Oh, my God,
thanks.
relax, mate. I mean, you think I've escaped them and, oh, hello, just wanted to thank you for dinner. Hello, I had enough of you last night, mate. See you later. OK, who has ever had bad feedback from a job interview? Wheeler dealer?
I went for a interview with a consulting firm, and I thought I did OK in the interview, to be fair. And then I got the rejection letter. So I called them up and I said, you know, can you give me some feedback? And they said, you did quite well in your verbal reasoning and your numerical reasoning was fine. But we totally disagree with the fact that you came in to interview with mismatching trousers and jacket. What? That was the feedback.
That sounds like a company that's making up the feedback to spare your feelings. Oh, yeah, no, you absolutely... Oh, you were brilliant. You were so brilliant, but it's just the jacket and the trousers. You were so good with the verbal and the numerical. Oh, you were brilliant. You were so good. It's just the trousers. Well, look, job interviews are tough, and most people do lie when giving the answers. You wouldn't honestly answer the question, what's your greatest weakness? You know, you're not going to say, well, I'm pretty racist and I get a bit touchy-feely around women. Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? I think some sort of employee tribunal, because she is hot.
Oh please, we ain't got no peace because we spent all our money on some old CDs. We're saying, oh please, we ain't got no peace.